I'm not a lawyer, but Fat Joe is now facing a $20 million lawsuit from his former hype man, and the claims are wild. The suit accuses him of trafficking, wage theft, RICO violations, and even inappropriate conduct involving minors. Yep, I actually went through all 157 pages of this lawsuit, so let me break it all down for you. First off, it's important to note, back in April this year, Fat Joe had actually sued this same hype man and his attorney for defamation. That attorney, Terrence Blackburn, yep, the same one you've probably heard of before. In this lawsuit, the plaintiff, the one suing, is Terrence Dixon, who's again being represented by Blackburn. And the people being sued, that includes Joseph Cartagena, Fat Joe, a man named Pistol Pete described as Joe's main enforcer, Rich Player Joe's business manager, ROC Nation, two of Joe's own companies, and a woman named Erica Morera, who the lawsuit claims pretended to be a lawyer but allegedly isn't one. One of the first major legal claims in this case is for unjust enrichment. Basically, Tar says he worked with Joe for years, co-wrote music, performed on stage as his hype man, but instead of getting credit and payment, Fat Joe, ROC Nation, and Joe's companies kept all the money and recognition for themselves. According to the suit, TA worked with Fat Joe from 2005 to 2022. Even though there wasn't a formal contract, TA says he worked under the promise of a creative partnership, contributing to songs like All the Way Up, Nothing Can Stop Me, Congratulations, MOBs, Ice Cream, No Problems, and Winding on Me. After some back and forth, Fat Joe allegedly agreed to give TA 15% ownership of those songs, 15% of gross earnings, and a letter for third-party platforms to pay TA royalties directly. But the lawsuit says Joe never delivered on any of that. Instead, while Fat Joe allegedly rakes in $60,000 plus a month in publishing royalties and another $20,000 monthly from streaming, TA hasn't seen a dime. And here's where it gets shady. TA says Joe used the so-called fake lawyer, Erica Morera, to file backdated and fake split sheets, which are documents showing song credits completely erasing Taz's name, that not only cut him out of the royalties but also wiped away his public recognition, making it harder for him to get other opportunities. As for ROC Nation, TA says they've been involved since 2017 and should have known what was happening, but instead of stepping in, they allegedly went along with it and helped cover it all up, and it doesn't stop at song royalties. TA also claims he wasn't paid fairly for live performances. He says his agreement was $3,000 per show, plus $100 per diem for meals, lodging, and travel. But according to the suit, that didn't happen either. For example, on the All the Way Up tour, Fat Joe reportedly got $30,000 from Live Nation, some of which should have gone to TA, but instead, Joe allegedly used it to pay his own tax bill, and then told Taz's accountant to inflate his W-2 to make it look like TA had been paid properly in reality. TA claims he only received about $250 per show, all in cash, with no tax paperwork and no official records. He says life on the road was tough, long waits at airports, unsafe lodging, and sometimes he even had to sleep in hotel lobbies, while Fat Joe and his team flew first class, stayed in premium hotels, and dined at luxury spots. The lawsuit accuses Fat Joe, ROC Nation, and his businesses of fraud, tax manipulation, wage theft, and using free labor or to keep making money while TA stayed broke and silent. TA says he's owed more than $610,000 just for unpaid work and travel costs, not even including royalties. But it gets even darker. Another claim in the lawsuit is for violating the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. In short, TA says Fat Joe used force, threats, and coercion to control him, both to keep him working and to force him into intimate acts. That's the part that falls under trafficking. The lawsuit paints a disturbing picture of manipulation, intimidation, and abuse. The suit claims that Joe would repeatedly bring up individuals who left the group and were allegedly harmed afterward, including Luis Cuban Link T-Ben, who the suit says was physically attacked and publicly embarrassed after leaving Joe's circle. It even includes before and after images of the alleged incident. Tar says these stories were used to scare him into staying silent, even when he wasn't being properly paid for his work. The lawsuit also alleges that Joe used verbal abuse, threats of violence, and abandonment in foreign countries as a means to control Tar. It claims that Tar was repeatedly intimidated and pressured during his 16 years working under Joe. The document goes on to accuse Joe of coercing TA into intimate situations with women, allegedly taking place after shows or studio sessions. According to the lawsuit, Joe would sometimes oversee or instruct during these situations, and TA complied out of fear. On one occasion, when TA reportedly refused, Joe allegedly cancelled his flight, leaving him stranded with no support. These encounters were described in the lawsuit as loyalty rituals within the group, with refusal resulting in potential loss of income or travel support. In one example, after a show overseas, Joe allegedly forced TA to engage in a group activity and reportedly humiliated him during the incident, the lawsuit claims. TA was subjected to over 4,000 such situations under pressure, and that these acts qualify under the legal definition of trafficking. The case then shifts focus to more serious claims involving minors. Still under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, TA alleges he witnessed Fat Joe interacting inappropriately with underage girls between the ages of 15 and 16. In one instance, the lawsuit says Joe allegedly provided gifts and money, including paying a phone bill to a 16-year-old Dominican girl in exchange for inappropriate favors. On another occasion, the suit claims a 15-year-old was flown out multiple times and received cosmetic procedures allegedly paid for by Joe. The lawsuit notes this individual is now married to a professional athlete. A third minor, also reportedly 15, was described as someone Joe allegedly supported financially, brought on tours, and housed in a condo near his family residence. The suit claims there's a recorded conversation between this minor and her cousin discussing the situation. It's also alleged that Joe later referenced this relationship in a song titled "She's My Mama," which the suit claims was based on this third individual. The lyrics, cited in the lawsuit, are now part of the legal argument regarding alleged trafficking. Lastly, the lawsuit introduces the case of a 15-year-old artist named K. Rose. This section reportedly includes a photo showing Fat Joe, Diddy, and others, along with Diddy's inmate number. It names Andre Dre Christopher Lyon as someone who allegedly groomed and assaulted K. Rose over the span of a year. The suit says that one day, as TA and Fat Joe entered a studio, they heard Dre saying he was going to jail because the artist's parents had discovered what was going on and were preparing to take action. The lawsuit says that after Dre started panicking about getting in trouble, Fat Joe allegedly told him, "I'm going to take care of it." And not long after that, K. Rose's music career reportedly faded and she was rarely heard from again. Now, the next major allegation in this case is civil RICO, basically meaning that TA is accusing Fat Joe of running a criminal enterprise, which allegedly carried out multiple illegal acts for Joe's personal benefit. According to the lawsuit, the enterprise included Joe himself, Erica Morera, the so-called fake lawyer, Pistol Pete, Rich Player, some street affiliates named JB Wheel, and AK Plus Joe's drivers, and even his travel agent. The suit claims this group used coded language to communicate. For example, the Dern or the Don referred to women. Payops meant forced intimate acts. Culpy meant to slap or hit someone. Coolin referred to a private body part. Ketchup meant to slash someone. Matend meant to kill someone. Theory referred to a woman in your life. And Corpin meant to put someone in a casket. Since a RICO charge requires at least 2 criminal acts within 10 years, the lawsuit lists around 15 alleged acts including forced labor, trafficking, intimidation, and retaliation. One key example, a recorded phone call between Pistol Pete and a mutual friend of Taz named Percy. In the call, Pete allegedly tries to convince Percy to help set up TAs so Fat Joe's people could confront or attack him. Percy's reply, "You're trying to tell me to line the man up? That don't even make sense." Pete responds, "If a man violates my people, bring that person to me." Percy pushes back again, "Not TA, he was part of the family." Pete continues, "If he's around all the time and Per is down with us, then that's a no." But Percy holds firm, "I'll bring him for a conversation, but never to get jumped. That's not who I am." The suit also mentions alleged orders from Fat Joe to assault other artists, including one involving rapper Mac. Joe allegedly told his people to pound him out after Mac reportedly made disrespectful comments about Joe's marriage. Even more surprising, the lawsuit claims Joe also gave orders involving DMX following a heated argument. Joe allegedly told TA to grab the hammer, which TA says was a reference to a firearm in case DMX acted up. And then the most serious claim, the lawsuit says Fat Joe ordered a hit on 50 Cent back in 2006 or 2007. The suit says when the plan didn't go as intended, Joe was left shaking and visibly upset. As for more threats against TA, the lawsuit claims Joe and his people used burner Instagram accounts to threaten and intimidate him online. One alleged message from Joe's burner account read, "Don't need to lift a finger. Biggest in the game." When TA replied, "You're not stopping nothing," the burner allegedly responded, "Everyone's willing to do it for me." Other messages included things like, You will get dragged. Be very careful. We let you live. Everyone is outside. Tar says he knew the account belonged to Joe because of the specific references, like one message that said, "You can be with whoever, but remember everyone by themselves when they turn that corner." Tar says that was something Joe often told him during travel, meaning even if you're with 30 people, the moment you separate, you're vulnerable. Tar also says other burner accounts sent him threats, including one message saying he'd get a $150, street slang for a slash across the face. When TA asked for proof of who was behind the account, it allegedly replied with a video of Pistol Pete, confirming it was him, and that, according to the lawsuit, is why TA is now suing Fat Joe and others for trafficking and misrepresentation, fraudulent concealment, and civil RICO. And yes, you can file a lawsuit under civil RICO. As for Fat Joe, he's denied all allegations. Let's see how this unfolds in court.